Hello and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Pastor Jacob Swenson, and I am your guide as we are walking through the Lutheran Book of Concord. Today we are continuing in Martin Luther's Large Catechism. We've been covering the fourth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother. And when we last discussed this commandment, there was a little bit of a provocative thing that Luther said. And of course, Luther is known for saying many provocative things, but this is what he said. That a little child is more righteous than all the monks and all the nuns and all the Carthusians locked away in monasteries. Those who pray all day long, who take vows of poverty, who flog themselves and such. The world tells us that those people are the righteous people. Those are the people that are pleasing to God. Those are the saints. And Luther says a little child possesses more righteousness than all those people because a little child listens to God's command. Honor thy father and thy mother. And because God commands it, it pleases him when we listen. I thought that was very interesting. We continue in paragraph 134. If you're like me, you're reading from Concordia, the Lutheran Confessions. This is available, it's about $20 online, maybe a little bit more. You can get it in a hard copy, you can get it in paperback, you can get it in leatherbound, which is what I'm having right now. You can also follow along at book-of-concord.org. Paragraph 134. Here then, you have learned the fruit and the reward, that whoever keeps this commandment shall have happy days, fortune, and prosperity. On the other hand, you have also learned the punishment, that whoever is disobedient shall perish sooner and never enjoy life. For to have long life in the sense of the Scriptures is not only to become old, but to have everything that belongs to long life: health, wife, children, livelihood, peace, good government, and so on. Without these things, this life can neither be enjoyed in cheerfulness nor long endure. If therefore you will not obey father and mother and submit to their discipline, then obey the hangman. If you will not obey him, then submit to the skeleton man, death. For God will insist on this in some. If you obey him, offering love and service, he will reward you abundantly with all good. If you offend him, he will send upon you both death and the hangman. Where do so many rogues come from that must daily be hanged, beheaded, and broken upon the wheel? Don't they come from disobedience to parents, because they will not submit to discipline and kindness? By God's punishment, they cause us to behold their misfortune and grief. For it seldom happens that such perverse people die a natural or a timely death. But the godly and obedient have this blessing. They live long in pleasant quietness and see their children's children, as said above, to the third and fourth generation. Experience teaches that where there are honorable old families who do well and have many children, they certainly owe their origin to the fact that some of them were brought up well and were full of regard for their parents. On the other hand, it is written of the wicked, Psalm 109, "May his posterity be cut off, may his name be blotted out in the second generation." Therefore note well how great a thing in God's sight obedience is. He values it so highly and is so pleased with it, and rewards it richly. He also enforces punishment rigorously on those who act against it. All this I say that it may be well impressed upon the young. No one believes how necessary this commandment is, although it has not been valued and taught under the papacy up to this point. These are simple and easy words, and everyone thought he knew them before. Therefore people pass by them lightly, crave other things and do not see and believe that God is so greatly offended if these words are disregarded. They don't see that a person does a work so well-pleasing and precious if he follows them. In this commandment belongs a further statement about all kinds of obedience to persons in authority who have to command and to govern. Right, so Luther is going to move here, and this is a distinction that we make in Lutheranism, and I hope in other denominations as well. I'm not incredibly well versed in every denomination, but Luther would say that not only does this commandment direct our obedience and honor of our parents, but of those who govern us as well. Luther writes, this is paragraph 141, "For all authority flows and is born from the authority of parents. Where a father is unable alone to educate his rebellious and irritable child, he uses a schoolmaster to teach the child. If he is too weak, he gets the help of his friends and neighbors. If he departs this life, he delegates and confers his authority and government upon others who are appointed for the purpose. Likewise, a father must have domestic manservants and maidservants under himself for the management of the household. So all whom we call masters are in the place of parents, and must get their power and authority to govern from them. So also men are all called fathers in the Scriptures, who in their government perform the functions of a father, and have a paternal heart toward their subordinates. From antiquity, the Romans and the other nations called the masters and mistresses of the household house fathers and house mothers. They called their national rulers and overlords fathers of the entire country. This is a great shame to us who would be Christians, because we do not give them the same title, or at least do not value and honor them as fathers. Now, the honor a child owes to a father and mother is owed by all who are included in the household. Therefore, manservants and maidservants should be careful to be obedient to their masters and mistresses. They should also honor them as their own fathers and mothers, and do everything they know is expected of them, not forced and unwillingly, but with pleasure and joy, because of what I just mentioned. It is God's command, and is pleasing to him above all other works. They ought to pray for the privilege, and be glad that they may get masters and mistresses, so that they may have such joyful consciences, and know how they may do truly golden works. This is a matter that has been neglected and despised till now. Instead, everybody ran, in the devil's name, into convents or to pilgrimages and indulgences, with loss of time and money and with an evil conscience. If this truth, then, could be impressed upon the poor people, a servant girl would leap and praise and thank God. With her tidy work, for which she received support and wages, she would gain such a treasure of good works. It would be unlike all those gained by people regarded by saints. Is it not an excellent boast to know and say that if you perform your daily domestic task, this is better than all the sanctity and ascetic life of monks? You have the promise, in addition, that you shall prosper in all good and fare well. How can you lead a more blessed or holier life as far as your works are concerned? In God's sight, faith is what really makes a person holy and serves him alone. But the works are for the service of people. We will end here and pick up tomorrow in paragraph 148 of Luther's Large Catechism.